Now these moments.
How many moments are you going to go through here, Gary?
I don't know. We'll go through them all before we're off air. But this is the Bobby Hill that was paid a trip.
Well, I guess the right arm does go below the knee. But
we need to have a good look at that slowly.
That could be paid either way very easily.
So let's just have a look in the slow-mo before we get to Bailey Smith, because he was a superstar as well. So this chase-down tackle's been in hot debate for a long time. Oh, I'm going to have to go to Bailey Smith before we can make a decision on that. Moons, this man was magnificent.
Just having a bit of a talk about those decisions, actually, and you thought yourself, were you a bit lucky?
Yeah, mate, I reckon you put the whistle away there, but, I mean, lucky to be on that side of the whistle, so... But gee whiz, yeah, some of the run-down tackle and the touch, I don't know, but you take it, I guess, because sometimes it goes against you, so lucky, but yeah, we came a bit there in the last, and then, yeah, Chris, I thought he was going to have the fairy tale ending. My heart was in my mouth, so I was so scared, but thank God we got through, yeah.
I spoke to Paddy about the second half compared to the first half. As we said, only going in 7 points down, so you weren't out of it, but you felt like they had control of the game. What changed in that second half?
Yeah, I sort of felt like they were in control of most of it. I think, I don't know, just getting the ball deeper into people like Paddy who can compete really well, even though he might be outsized or whatever, just giving our forwards a chance, get it forward, and then just guard the corridor. Their ball use, they like running in numbers through the corridor, using the ball through there. So, yeah, our ability to absorb the pressure and then apply it, and then, yeah, just try out last them, which we just did, yeah.
Bailey, you seem very happy here, mate. You've fitted in so well to this football club. Just tell us about your journey over the last few months.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, very grateful to be where I am. They've welcomed me with open arms. So, yeah, I'm just forever in debt to this club. So I'll just keep working my ass off to, repay them. And, I'm doing what I love doing, and that's competing, regardless if we win, lose or draw. I'm just happy. So, yeah, I can't really lose.
How good is it? 82,000 versus Collingwood on a Saturday night at the G. How good's that?
It's beautiful, mate. Not getting that at Ballarat. So.
Just a little sting in the tail.
He can't help himself, can he? 34 disposals to Bailey Smith. Well, he's been unbelievable. 30-plus again tonight. He had a nice little crack there at the end.
Someone,
number one disposals. He's leading metres gained. He's recruit of the year at this stage, isn't he?
It's a very, very good pickup, and I must admit he's a much better footballer than I've given him credit for over the journey. I think tonight, especially watching him firsthand, when they needed someone to say, no, we need to run and carry and get this ball game moving. He was the one, and then Danger finished it off.
You look at the month ahead, but what he does do for the Cats is he gives them something they desperately needed. He fills a massive hole. They relied far too heavily on Max Holmes. Now they get more run.
So they had 20 seconds it was held in. They had 14 seconds. I think they had about 7 seconds when the final clearance had to come out of the middle. Here we go, and it lands in the hands of the record breaker.
And one of the things to remember here, so you'll see Pendlebury gets it and kicks it forward. All the Cats have gone too deep in defence. They're all over the back playing goalkeeper. There's no one in front.
Oh.
There's 4 pies there at the front where the ball went.
Yeah,
so they didn't get themselves organised, and they nearly paid the penalty.
Did you think he was going to kick it or not? Gut feel.
I thought the pressure was going to be enormous on that kick.
You could see it on his face
enormous.
a little bit when he was going back to take the kick.
Yep. Loved his teammates. So quick to get over. So quick.
They were that quick that for a moment in the call I thought he kicked it because they went to him that quickly. Yep. But what about this man, Patrick Dangerfield?
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Kath Lachlan's going to be back, going to be here with the boys.
3 a.m.
And they'll be unpacking every single part of this and reliving all these heroic moments and controversies and scoreline goal reviews, and they'll keep going until it's done. So you're going to get it all here on Fox Footy, but this is a Geelong Football Club that just win admirers every time. They were awful early. Collingwood were all over them, and then I think the coaching and the way they wanted to play the game changed and meant they were able to keep field position. Anyway, they'll sort it out after this. This is a song to be sung.
It keeps them well ahead of the ledger at 5-3. They've had 3 weeks at the MCG. They'll be pretty happy with 2-1 before they return home to take on the Giants in the next round. What a night at the footy. And these sort of occasions to sing the song is something very special. So the Cats just by 3 points hit an absolute thriller at the MCG in front of 82,000. So much to analyse from this game and all the footy that's taken place around the country right here on Fox Footy as we throw to Kath Mocknan and the team. Kath?
Hutto, what on earth have we just witnessed? A match we will remember forever. Welcome to Super Saturday Live on Fox, the Saturday night debrief brought to you by the all-electric Toyota BZ4X. David King, Jack Rewalt, Jay Clark. Apparently we're going to be here till 3 a.m. to unpack that one. But that was one of the most unbelievable games we've seen, Jay.
Yeah, it's incredible being at the footy and being a part of it, a Collingwood home game. So we were certainly living it with the Collingwood fans up here. They had a few choice words about the umpiring late in that game, but what an incredible finish. 3 minutes to go, and the champs of never being out of it just rose again and had a chance to win it.
What did you think when Jack Chris was lining up?
Well, we all looked at each other and thought, how good is this?
Did you think he was going to kick it?
I actually thought he was. I had him in there as kicking it, but unfortunately just hooked it a little bit there. But an incredible match, an incredible moment, and what's been an incredible run for Jack Crisp. And I mean, you come away from the footy tonight going, how good is footy?
Key, you couldn't script it.
Oh, one man really stood between Collingwood and victory, and I should say 5 men, 4 in green and one. And one with number 35.
You're falling in line with the Collingwood faithful up here.
Jack, it's a factor. It's a factor. They got 14 of the last 18 free kicks.
Wow.
At the times we're talking about, so 15 minutes into the third quarter, the Pies led by 20 points, and I felt it felt like 30 points. They had full control of the game. I have to say it, and I've talked about the umpiring a lot this year. It's a negative starting point. I understand that. But Collingwood were hard done by in that last 12 minutes of football. There's absolutely no other way of looking at this. And, you know, Patrick Dangerfield had 13 touches in the last quarter, 5 scoring involvements, 10 contested possessions. He was everywhere and he was everything. But the umpiring has had a massive impact on tonight's game.
Well, you've got to have a look. You speak about the umpiring, you can also go to the arc and have a look at Lachie Schultz's goal. I mean, was that enough evidence to confirm that maybe that was touched? I looked at that and thought, potentially that should have been a goal too.
This will be dominating the headlines tomorrow, Jay.
It certainly will. I think the big one, and the AFL will tick this off. I mean, the chase down tackle was the tackle of the year from Bobby Hill on Sean Manor. But at the end of the day, he's got to get him around the hips in that situation. He's dragged down. He gets him down by the knees. So he comes from nowhere, Bobby Hill. He's 25 metres to the right. Lightning speed gets him. You see, he takes him at the knees. So the AFL will tick that off on Monday. So I know it was a trend there. Collingwood had all the run of it. Sorry, Geelong had all the run of it, but that was a free kick.
It's always been where the tackle starts. It can slide down. If the tackle starts at the hips, it can move down. I know they'll tick it off, but in the spirit of the game, I think that's been a run-down tackle every time, except for this time.
How good was this last bit of play? Even Cameron standing off, Blitzarves knowing he gets a free kick and the hat forward from Steele Sidebottom, and this was the man who had the moment.
It would have been the fairy tale of the season had he nailed this. I mean, 225 games, passing Jim Steins. On the death, he missed it, clearly ran out of gas, but it would have been an incredible story.
Yeah, it maybe be a couple of games off in between him, would have fresh legs, I reckon. Look, it would have been perfect. You have to give Steele Sidebottom a shout-out as well.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was huge all night. We just couldn't stop watching him. You look down the stat sheet, he's only had the 25. It felt like 35.
I think we're seeing the culture too really come to the fore again for Geelong, because they've backed in Bailey Smith over the middle finger gestures over the past couple of weeks, really thrown their arms around him, and he's repaid them on the field tonight. I mean, as you said it, Jack, the run has been one of the major differences for the Cats tonight and a winning edge, but it has been a bumpy couple of weeks for Bailey Smith and the Cats, and Chris Scott really went into battle for him clearly.
Yeah, I love Mark Blitzarves as well. I think you see Gary Ablett down in the rooms there with some former teammates, and he is the Swiss Army knife of this football club. Yep. Reece Stanley gets injured halfway through that second quarter, and I mean, he really is their only bona fide ruck, Reece Stanley. But this bloke, you can put him anywhere. He has so much value.
He'd be the coach's favourite, wouldn't he?
I think he's that sort of that ripcord in terms of, all right, we need you to go down back, we need you to play on the wing. But I reckon there's so many players learning off Mark Blitzarves.
We needed a game like this, let's be fair. I mean, 90 points to 87, it had everything. It had moments right throughout that fourth quarter. You know, I thought Collingwood were dominant for the first 2 quarters and probably didn't get full bang for buck on the scoreboard, but that last quarter is our great game at its very very best.
It felt like a lot of the time during the match that Collingwood should be up by more.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Cats just hung in there and then did what they did in the final term, Jay.
What are you seeing from Ollie Dempsey, Kingy? Because you stood here and you said Ollie Dempsey's going to win this game for Geelong. Next minute, another towering mark in the square. What are you seeing from the wing forward? Because it feels like that's really getting a jump on the opposition.
Yeah, well, we put it on notice on First Crack a couple of weeks ago that he's a wingman that slides forward aggressively and becomes a full forward because he knows the craft. He uses his body so well. He's great above his head. He can sit on shoulders. He can crumb. He can do it all. So when he takes the opposition wingman to the goal square, you're in trouble. He's taking to the deep water, and most opposition wingmen, they can't handle it. I think you need to put a full back type or a key position player on him when he gets in that position. He's kicked 14 goals for the year, 8 of them from the goal square. So this is a massive weapon that Chris Scott is using perfectly.
So if I pose the question to you right now, the wing is a really interesting spot in the All-Australian team. Is he doing enough to be an All-Australian wingman? I mean, 14 goals from the wing, and I'm not sure how many from the goal square, because that's where there's 8 from the goal square. He's sort of changing the role of the wingman, isn't he?
He is, but they'll put a midfielder on the wing because the numbers, you can't argue with the midfield numbers. And in the end, you just get done for sheer volume. But if you're looking for someone who can win you a game in a moment, Ollie Dempsey is someone you should be thinking about. So Chris gets taken to the square, outmarked, and then flips the script and has the opportunity at the other end. It was a remarkable finish. You just hope for the story that he kicked it, but not to be.
We have to talk more about this man behind Mark Blitzars, and that is the captain, Patrick Dangerfield. He is our Ashley and Martin turning point because what he did in the final quarter completely changed the game and is the big reason why Geelong are winners tonight.
Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about Lee Matthews, and when he finished his career as a midfielder at full forward, he was a revelation. Now, everyone says to me, nah, you can't compare Lee to anyone. And I can't because I didn't see Lee. But when you watch this guy, he operates with such power, he breaks tackles, he sets up goals, he's a clearance winner inside forward 50 stoppages, like 13 touches in the last quarter. 5 of those become scores. Put that into context of where they were, Jack, halfway through the last quarter. They were nowhere, they were gone. And this guy says, hey, come with me.
It is pure leadership in terms of football. Like, he drags Geelong over the line, and it's been time and time and time again for Patrick Dangerfield that he just gets the job done. I love the fact they're playing him forward now. For someone like him with his brutality, is that he just gets from contest to contest. He pulls the ball out of packs that you think, oh, well, that's definitely going to be a ball up. But all of a sudden, Dangerfield emerges with the ball and just creates these opportunities out of nothing, really.
And potentially history in the making here. So what has he got, 8 All-Australian Blazers?
I was just about to ask that. Is it 8?
Yes, and no one's got 9, I'm sure. So he could become the most All-Australian player.
He's on the FaceTime there with a few mates.
Of all time. He had 29 possessions tonight. You'd expect him to be in the votes.
When he started his career, we didn't have FaceTime. It was that long ago when he started. But what about the young guys that are playing with him? I just can't help but feel guys like Manor, who's only played, 16 games of footy, O'Sullivan, Humphreys, Clark. They're seeing what this guy does to influence games. It's got to be worth... I mean, this game tonight, it's not one home and away game. To play in that atmosphere and that pressure cooker, make the right decision at the right time, get it wrong, you leak a goal. I just think that's worth 20 games what they played tonight.
On tape as well, that's the other thing, is that Chris Scott will be able to go to town on Collingwood and actually plan again. These two sides you think would be at the pointy end come September. I mean, we had September-like atmosphere tonight, 88,000 or whatever in the MCG, and was absolutely rocking. And I think Geelong come away from this going, they've proven themselves after a little glitch last week in terms of that, but I think this week they've just come out and shown why they are in most people's top 4.
That centre bounce clearance with about 7 minutes to go, I think, where Max Holmes just completely exploded, delivered it to Danger. You just go, wow, that's why they're definitely going to be there. Well, they should be there come September. Let's relive this crazy finish again, shall we? If you're just tuning in and you're going, what happened here? 3-point win. It was so much more than that. The drama tonight, the milestone man. So this was about 7 seconds left to go on the clock, and Collingwood just do what they do best. About 7 from here.
Yeah, this is smart from Darcy Cameron. He just stands off Blitzar's in. He has to try and get the ball out. Collingwood want to get it free, and then the snap forward.
Now, I don't know if we can show that again in a moment, but It's the fact that all the other Collingwood players sit off. So it's a genuine one-on-one. So if you don't dispose of the ball, it's going to be a free kick. Often you see teammates rush in and it becomes a gang tackle and the umpire then balls the ball up. So I love the smarts that Steele Sidebottom was there. He's holding his hands up saying, pay the free kick, pay the free kick. So this is what they do. They train this week in, week out, session in, session out. This is why they are so good at the death, Collingwood. It didn't go their way through one errant shot at goal, but, gee, they gave themselves a chance.
Well, what did you make of the Dacos move in the middle to actually come outside of that stoppage? So at the final centre bounce, Dacos pulls himself all the way to centre forward.
Hang on, stop. We don't want to hear from you right now.
Right.
We want to hear from the man, Jack Crisp, who has been so good enough to join us following this unbelievable match and a night where he just made history and breaking Jim Stein's record, of course. Jack, thanks so much for joining us. I mean, firstly, just what on earth is going through your mind? It's been a roller coaster kind of night.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. A lot's going through my mind. I was feeling pretty happy and content, confident in my ability to kick the goal at the end there, but wasn't to be. But, after an emotional week, I guess, feeling the love from everybody outside of football to finally finish the game out. Pretty exhausted, but it would have been good to get the win. But, credit to Geelong. What was going through your mind when you were lining up for goal? What were you telling yourself? I had lots of blokes talk to me about this is what dreams are made of, I guess. And then it was just about routine. We practice these scenarios and set shots that often throughout the week. Here we go. I'll watch myself miss it and feel sad again.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. I got the distance easy, but it's just about the accuracy. So, I'll go recover now. And, we don't... Quick turnaround. We've got a 5-day break into Freo.
With the ultimate endurance athlete, really, on 245 games. Congratulations. Crispy, how were your legs? How much petrol did you have left in the tank as you lined up from 50?
Yeah, good question. Pretty gassed, to be fair. Geelong wingers like to run, deep forward and deep back, especially with Ollie Dempsey. I was caught down back there with him a couple of times. I was pretty gassed. Had to match Jeremy Cameron, who was rolling around as that extra defender there. And the ball fell on my lap. That was my moment. And, it wasn't to be.
Well, Jack, congratulations on obviously breaking the record tonight. Commiserations with the end of the result. I want to talk about after the kick, and every single player got to you on the ground, and nearly all of the Geelong players got to you as well. Is that what Collingwood is about? Win, lose or draw, you can just see that sense of team? Yeah, exactly. We feel like we've built a really good culture like that. We like to celebrate what happens on the field, if we win or lose, celebrate people, what they're achieving in their milestones as well. But I definitely felt a lot of love, everyone getting around me, especially Geelong players as well. It did mean a lot. Nearly brought a tear to my eye, to be fair. It was just, a special moment. And then, having my wife and kids run on the Oval as well was pretty cool.
Jack, that was one of the great games. It really was. Best game of the year by an absolute mile. There are the kids just charging out. They don't really know what's going on, which is terrific at some stages, Jack. Yeah. It's just great to see them.
They just love you regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to celebrate the game for a moment, because with 7 minutes to go, you're 17 points down. It's effectively over. You just don't come back and win these sorts of games against quality opposition. What happens at Collingwood in that moment? Why does the flick... How does the switch get flicked? What happens?
Well, we have different types of game plans, I guess, that we go to in different scenarios. That called for us to kind of get a bit more speed on the ball, you could say, a bit more flow, because we're probably a bit stagnant in Geelong. We're putting the pressure on us. We were able to get the ball in our forward half firstly, and then I think we were able to bring a contest, and then Brady Mychek stood tall, a couple of strong contested marks, and really obviously put us back in the game.
Hey, one thing we were talking about really quickly was the ability Nick Dacos actually went forward at that last stoppage and created a 2v3. Is that a planned tactic, or is that something that the mids just came up with late?
To be honest, it could have just been something the mids come up with. We have a lot of blokes that can go through the midfield, especially in those scenarios as well. If we do want some speed on the ball going forward, create a bit of chaos, I guess, put the opposition in their different mind where they don't know what's going on. So, it kind of paid off for us.
Jack, you have been so good to join us following tonight. Congratulations once again on such an outstanding milestone this evening, and we look forward to seeing you in, game 2, 4, 6 consecutive next week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good night.
Well done.
Well done.
What a warrior.
Handstand brigade happening behind there as well.
That's a big effort, that. I full respect for that. He's just gone through hell as a footballer and then had the opportunity to win his team the game. He's had a big build-up to this occasion. It's been all about him. He would have thought, oh, this is a dream. And then have that ripped out from underneath him. That's a big effort to come on and discuss the way he has.
100%, and us showing the replays and him talking through that.
Well, I think it speaks volumes about where Collingwood are at. Now, the result hasn't gone their way tonight, but knowing Craig McRae in my time from Richmond with him, he would be looking at the positive light on this and going, well, you know what, we didn't win the battle tonight, but they would find a few things out to potentially win the war. And that's what good coaches do. They look at this and go, the scoreboard is the scoreboard, and that could have gone either way, clearly, with that last kick. But there will be plenty of good signs for Craig McRae and Collingwood out of tonight.